Hello and welcome to another episode of Wedflics. I'm Julia Braime, I'm your host. I'm the editor of UNVEILED magazine and the founder and editor of Brides Up North, the top UK wedding blog for northern couples. So in this episode, which incidentally was filmed during deepest, darkest lockdown, I am chatting to the queen of golden glam, Natasha Jane Makeup, all about getting your glow on for your wedding day. All the information is relevant whether we're in a national lockdown or out of it, hoping for the latter. So without further ado, let's speak all things bridal beauty. So hi Natasha, welcome to our Wedflics channel. Natasha is looking very, very glam. You're about to see her next. Natasha is a makeup artist who is based in Yorkshire, and I have had the privilege of working with a lot, particularly on our style shoots for UNVEILED magazine. So we decided to get her on here today to talk you through bridal beauty and some of the things you could be doing in lockdown to prepare for when we are released back into the world. But this episode will endure after lockdown too. Loads of hints and tips for brides looking to get their wedding day glam on. So hi Natasha.
Hi. You okay?
Look at her. She's showing us up with this makeup. So do you want to introduce yourself and the sort of services that you provide to brides?
Yeah, so I'm Natasha Jane Makeup. I've been in the industry for about 6 years, a little bit more. I offer all of the bridal makeup ranges as well as semi-permanent lashes, and I also do semi-permanent makeup, so eyebrows to get your brows ready for your wedding day, which is always a good one because they stay on your honeymoon, they will not fall off. So I basically go through the whole of the run up to the wedding with you. I'll offer you tips along the way, I'll do your trial, and I just stick with you the whole time. I always say I like to get to know my brides quite well, purely because I feel like wedding mornings are so personal, and if you don't know each other kind of well, you're there and everyone's getting emotional and it's really cute and you're just this awkward person in the morning. So for me, I always get to know people, and I always get the comment of one of the bridesmaids will say to the bride, "Oh, do you two know each other?" And I'm like,
Yeah, it's really nice.
But I've just made friends. I like to do that sort of thing. That's the sort of thing I offer, but mainly just makeup services and making you all look the best version of you for your wedding day.
Yeah. So how did it all start? How did you get into it? How did your love for makeup start?
I would probably say my mum was very glam. And from being a little girl, she worked for Habia, which is the city and guilds, as people will know if they're in the industry. And she was marketing, so she'd go to exhibitions and do stands for them all the time. And she used to bring me home a gift every time. And being like a little girl, and I love my makeup, and she always had me playing around with it. She brought me home a makeup artistry book, and I think I just fell in love with it from there. I tried to do probably more an academic route along the roads. My dad said I was too clever to be a makeup artist. And then I just was like, no, I'm doing it. So he let me go. He let me do it.
And so did you do a specific training? How did you train?
Yes, I trained for 2 years. I did level 2 hair and media makeup and level 3 theatrical and media makeup. That was at Retford in Sync, it was called at the time, but I think it's changed to like Post 16 Centre or something like that. And so it was part of North Nottinghamshire College, a full qualification, and then from then on you kind of just have to self-teach yourself after that to get yourself going and just get out there with clients and practice and whatever you can do.
Yeah, and you do top up things along the way, don't you? Because you've trained in, for example, I know that you do the semi-permanent makeup.
Yeah. I actually started after the course. I went straight to a job on Clinique. So I started on makeup counters. Clinique obviously isn't as makeupy as some brands are. I started there, and then I moved to Smashbox, and then I worked with Mark, Bobby Brown, as you met me on Bobby Brown, so you know.
We did. We met. Natasha, I just went into Bobby Brown as like a tired mum, and was having a chat, and I think Natasha put some makeup on my little girl Annabella. You were super nice and super knowledgeable. That's the thing, really stood out to me. And then we got chatting, didn't we? And you were already coming to one of our wedding shows, which was a funny one.
I know. So weird how you can meet like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we made friends from there. And then we've been all over together, haven't we?
Yeah, all over.
Yeah, all over. Okay, so why then, if you do obviously all sorts of makeup from the start on the makeup counter through to the semi-permanents, why do you specifically like bridal makeup?
I think I'm a proper typical girl. I love weddings. I just absolutely love them. I love the buzz of it. So I think that drew me in. But I've always been a lot more natural than some makeup artists out there. And for me, bridal makeup is quite natural and it's quite fresh and it's glowing. And I think it's just the best version of you possible. And that's what I like to create. And I think that was always my route. When I was getting taught makeup, we did obviously special effects and that sort of thing. And for me, I hated making people ugly. It just wasn't my sort of thing. Because when you would turn someone into an old man, it was like, ugh, so disgusting. Yeah. For me, that just isn't me. I just like pretty. I just like nice and fresh, and everyone to just look the best rather than like the other route.
Mm-hmm. So then that naturally sits with bridal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because bridal's just so beautiful. It's more glowing. It's just, I think a bride has a glow about them without the makeup even going on, and I think that's what's there's just something really nice to the way that the whole morning and everything about it.
It's interesting you say this about liking things to look pretty, because for example, through Unveiled, we quite often for the magazine do some more directional work, so it might be more high fashion, that sort of thing. But I have to say that the shoots that I ask you to be a part of and the ones that I sort of line you up for, they're always the ones where I want like a golden glowy look. So it must be just a natural thing that I see that in your work coming through, that, oh right, Natasha can absolutely nail this sort of sun-kissed inner glow thing. You definitely, you're rocking the inner glow now. I should have, it's a shame we're in lockdown, otherwise we could have both been looking super glam to film this. This is my own work.
Yeah, you look fab.
Oh, I don't know. I've been picking up some tips from you along the way. Yeah, thank God that root stretch is fairly on vogue at the moment, eh?
Yeah, I can't cope.
Looking good. It's looking good.
Beachy. Doing the natural.
Beachy hair.
Wow.
So on a wedding morning then, you mentioned the wedding morning and the sort of the joy you get from working on that. I'm guessing that you do some bridesmaids, mother of the bride as well as the bride often. So talk us through a typical wedding morning. How does that work?
So I would usually arrive, it's usually early, not gonna lie. So 6, 7, 5, 4, whoever knows, in the morning, I will be there. Depending on whatever we need. A lot of the time I will have about six people as an average to do. Because I usually have mother of the bride, sometimes mother of the groom. We get both. Then we get the bride and usually 3 or 4 bridesmaids or less, whatever. Sometimes it's more. I've had up to 10 people before. It's absolutely crazy, but you can do it. I usually tend to say to the bride, don't put yourself at the end and don't put yourself at the beginning. If you put yourself at the end and for whatever reason we run out of time, that is one big rush and they've got to get the dress on, which sometimes takes a while. So I tend to just get there, try and grab one of the bridesmaids to get in the seat first. No one really wants to go first, but we'll do everyone's full face without lipstick, and I just say, you're coming back for touch-ups at the end, so don't worry. So, and then I'll go through everyone, and then I call everyone back, and we go over touch-ups. Usually the person at the beginning might just want a little bit more doing. We do the lips. I usually just get a little picture of them myself, and then they can kind of get themselves ready. I sometimes wait around to see the bride in the dress. A lot of the time brides do say to me, like, you can stay, you can watch me get in my dress, which is really nice. And I just work quite closely with the photographers as well throughout the morning, because when they're there, they're wanting to get the perfect shot, so they need to be speaking to me about where I'm positioned and whether they want one with the bride getting her makeup done at some point, and whether we wait till it's done at the end, I'm posing with a brush sort of thing. So we work closely with everyone, and it's just fun. It's nice. Even though I'm working, it doesn't feel like work. It's just a nice little motion you go through.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, isn't it? And I'd imagine you're normally at the bride's house, so you're sort of welcomed to the family for that special time.
Yeah, I'm always on different locations. It's either a house, it's a wedding venue in the hotel room. I've been to some lovely places, like little cottages, which the wedding venue rents out. They're really cute. So yeah, I go all over really. So it all depends. It can be the mum's house, the dad's house, the bride's house, or it can just be hotels and places like that. So it is really nice. To be honest with you, I usually end up helping with everything on the morning.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I've done hair. I've definitely helped a hairdresser a few times if they've been running behind. I've been stood there curling people's hair. Yeah, I've been holding lights for photographers. What else have I done? Holding dresses up, helping people put stuff on, tie them dresses. I think
that's the thing. I think suppliers really kind of come together as part of a team on the wedding morning. I often hear that from photographers, that, you know, they're not just a photographer in the morning, they'll be kind of pinning dresses, they'll be making tea, they'll be doing this, that and the other. And that's why it's really important you really like your supplier team, because they are your friends on the day, they're there with you. And often you speak to them more than your guests, particularly in the build-up, in that wedding morning excitement. The wedding morning is my favourite bit, actually, I have to say. It's the best bit of the day because it's, you know, it's the anticipation.
I feel like with being the makeup artist, you're kind of the calming voice. You like, the one thing I notice is every time I get a bride in my chair on that morning, they kind of go, and that's it. They're like calm. They'll be buzzing about and they're calm. They don't speak a word, and it's just like they would just want this peace, and they just want you to kind of just do the makeup, them to sit down. They've got nothing to do, nothing to think about. And I do find it's usually the part where they start getting the most nervous. It's like, crap, this is happening. I always feel like I'm there to be able to stand and reassure them, and I think I quite like that bit as well.
So how long does it take then? So for a bride, how long are you kind of looking at for her, on average, for their makeup?
I definitely give them an hour, but I do quite like to have a little bit over an hour if I can do. Like up to an hour and a half. Just, I really like, obviously I want the whole bridal party to look absolutely beautiful, but for the bride, it is their day, and they're going to have a camera in their face majority of the day. So I do like to spend a little bit longer on them and just make sure that everything is perfect, and getting them to look in the mirror and check things as we go along as well, so they can kind of say more, a little bit less, whatever. Because the versatile thing with makeup is you can take it off. So if it is a little bit too much, you can always strip it back a little bit. If it is a bit too less, you can add more. So I like to communicate a lot with the bride throughout their makeup. We would have done a trial, so a lot of the time the trial takes longer than the actual makeup on the wedding day, because on the trial I really do just like pull out as much information as I can from that bride to get to know their face and how they want it. Whereas on the day I kind of have that picture next to me and my notes about what I've used, and we kind of just talk through, do you want it any different to what that was? So sometimes it will only be about an hour on the day, like an hour and a half to 2 hours on the trial. So it just is.
With the trial, what happens on a trial? So if a bride comes to you for her, like how do you work it? Do you get her to give some ideas, bring some photographs? How do you start the trial, and how does the whole trial process work from when they've got in touch with you and they're thinking of booking you? What happens next?
So we usually book a trial. I recommend it. It always depends on the wedding. Some people book me and their wedding's not for 2 years. And I kind of say to them, if you want to pop in for like a standard occasion makeup, if you're going out for one day, pop in, see if you like my style, sort of thing. And usually a lot of the time I get to meet my brides quite a lot before we go up to the wedding day. And it's really nice because that's how I really get to know them. But if not, I usually just say a couple of months before at least. So you've got this time before. You don't want to, I usually say you don't want to come like the year or two before, because your style might change. You might choose a dress that doesn't go with the makeup you're thinking of. So keep it, so once you know exactly your style of your wedding, you know the colours that are in that year or whatever is going on, do that. So they come about two months before. I usually say I'm going to take about an hour and a half on this. It'll probably will go to about an hour and a half. I tend to just get to know the bride a little bit first, ask them a little bit about the wedding, what kind of dress they've gone for, if they want to tell me that information, usually how they got proposed to, because I just like a nice little love story. And they usually have a Pinterest board, a lot of brides tend to just, anyway, but I will usually say to them, bring some images of what you like, because the one thing I've always found with makeup is people will say to you, I really want like a purple smoky eye look. And what they actually meant was brown, but I don't know how it's come out as purple, but that's just what was in their head. But as soon as you do it, they go, oh, no, I didn't want purple. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. It's not one way in your head. So you need pictures, you need images. So I always say to them, bring some images of inspiration, and we'll look through them. And a lot of the time, one will be completely different to one of the other images. So I'd say, like, what is it out of this one that you like, and what is it out of this one? Because they're so different. So this one's quite heavy. Is it heavy you're wanting, or you wanting it them colours but as subtle as that one? So we'll just really talk through what's going on in their mind. And then as we go through the trial and as I like try things, we'll keep looking in the mirror, we'll keep checking, we'll see if they're wanting eyelashes on, if it's mascara, and just everything as we go through. But I always say to my brides on the trial this is a trial. This isn't how you have to look on the day. You don't have to walk away today and go, okay, this is how I'm going to look on my wedding day. It can be, okay, I've gone away. So I don't like the glowy look. I'm going to go for a matte look next time. I might even have another trial to try out a matte look, because I don't know whether or not I like dewy or like matte. I don't know if I want some sparkle or I want matte. So sometimes people have more than one trial because they just want to give everything a go. If you don't usually wear makeup, you don't know.
Yeah, because that's the point of it, isn't it? That's the word trial. Kind of gives it away. But I know what you mean. People, this is the first time they're ever doing this. It might be the first time they're having the makeup professionally done in their entire lives. So they're coming to it and they're thinking, right, well, this is what I've got to go with. But actually, no, it's there to talk through the options. And I think that's what you're good at, Natasha. You definitely kind of like, you keep the dialogue going, and you're talking to brides all the time. So they'll be as happy as possible on the day. So with the bridesmaids, often the bridesmaids or the mother of the bride, mother of the groom, or anyone else in the wedding party that's like, a special member and they're on the morning getting the makeup done, they won't have had their trial with you. So it's mainly the bride. Do you ever have any issues with bridesmaids wanting this and that and wanting something different to the rest? Because it's got to be a consistent look for the bridesmaids, hasn't it? Yeah. And how do you deal with that?
I do find a lot of people say to me, how do you do weddings? Do you get bridezillas? And I go, I never get a bridezilla. I never had one. I've been very lucky. I've never had one. Touch wood. But I do get bridesmaids a bit picky. Because the thing is with bridesmaids is if you are quite picky about your makeup anyway, and you're quite controlling over what you look like, I'm terrible. I'm a nightmare. If it comes to someone else picking a makeup artist and you're thinking, that bride doesn't wear what I usually wear, and I'm thinking I don't think it's going to work, and they panic because they think I'm going to turn up and make them look how the bride looks instead of making them look how they want to look. The problem I probably do face is if I have got a bride saying I want them all to have a pinky toned eyeshadow because the dresses are a pinky toned, and one of them's going, I don't like pink, it doesn't suit me, then it's kind of a situation where I have to be like, right, don't worry, we'll mix in a little bit of a brownie colour, but we still need to make it consistent for everyone else, so that it's not completely different to everyone else, but it's just that touch to make that bridesmaid feel comfortable. Because I don't want any of them to walk away thinking, God, she was a terrible makeup artist, don't like her.
Yeah, it's about adapting kind of within the parameters of what the bride wants, isn't it? Someone's like kind of used to wearing, say, a lot of makeup, and that's their vibe, if they kind of go for like, some people like a sort of a heavy eyeliner or like more of a vintagey style, and then the bride's obviously chosen you probably because of your glowy natural style, then it's kind of getting the other people in the party to get used to and feel comfortable within that look. Yeah. But then little hints of their own style, I guess.
I would probably say when a bridesmaid is quite like nervous and they're not feeling comfortable with the look that's been chosen for them, I do tend to say to them, what is it you usually wear, so that I can try and incorporate a little bit of it, so I can try and at least give them something. So if they're like, I wear eyeliner every day and no one else has got eyeliner on, I'm like, I'll do you a really fine line and a fine flick. Let me just double check with the bride that that's okay. And I will always ask the bride, because I don't think it's right to go behind the back and do something, then look at it and be like, it's not what I wanted. So I will always just say to the bride, is it all right just for a little eyeliner on this bridesmaid? And they're just like, yeah, whatever. Usually they're quite chilled and they're quite fine.
Yeah, usually by the wedding morning, all that kind of worry about the little details is gone, because they're like, oh yeah, my friends are here and it's lovely and we want them to be as happy as I am today. So it is interesting how all this planning, I see this all the time, all the planning goes in, but on the wedding day it sort of relaxes a level, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time you will just get bridesmaids that are just excited for the friend, and they're just like, do whatever, it's not my day. And I like that. They're the chilled ones. I do get a
Yeah.
lot of brides that are very nervous. I do find that a lot. A lot of the time people get too nervous to book me for their parents, mother-in-law or mother. But one of the things I always say, I pride myself on, is my years of beauty counters built me up to be able to always work on every single skin, like literally every single skin I've worked on, every single tone, every single age, I've done it. So the mother of bride is my favourite face to work on, but they are the most nervous, always most nervous. They are so scared to get it done because they think they're going to look like mutton dressed as lamb. They think they're going to have this over-the-top makeup that doesn't suit, especially with me being a bit younger as well. I think they see me and they're like, oh no, what's she going to do to me? I'm like, I promise you, you're like my favourite face. Like, please, like, I can't wait to do it. So I get a lot of mother of the brides that come in for a trial and they walk out and they're like, oh my God, I loved it. Like, I want you to paint my face today. But that's my favourite. Honestly, I can't even tell you how much I love doing Mother of the Bride, but how scared they get is unbelievable. They're probably the most nervous. But yeah, they're my favourite, I've got to say.
So brides watching this, tell your mums, tell your boyfriend's mums, it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay.
Stay calm.
Yeah, stay calm, Mother of the Brides. So just then we touched on aging skin. So if a bride or one of the bridal parties is worried about a specific concern, let's go through a few concerns that they might have, just ones that spring to my mind, and how you would kind of deal with it. So let's start with aging skin. So what are the products and what are you doing specifically to kind of make them look their best?
Okay, so for an aging skin, I tend to stay away from any matte looks, and I always say less is more. You don't want to be piling heavy makeup on. So it needs to be fine layers working onto the skin, and I tend to go for really like creamy products, so creamy blushes, creamy bronzers. A lot of people say stay away from shimmer on the eyes, but I don't think that's a massive thing. I think you can go for certain shimmers, but it's a certain type of shadow that you want to go for. It's not like a block shimmer. It's more of the ones that look like a fine glitter. It's really hard to describe that off the top of my head. I feel like I want to show you it. I'm going to show you it. Tom Ford are amazing for these. These are my favourites. You went for like a glittery one, like these ones. I use this too. Them ones work really, really well. Like my nana used to always say when I was training for makeup, she was like, why do they say not wear shimmer? I love wearing shimmer.
Disco gran.
Yeah, she's literally like the most glamorous gran ever. But it's true. You can wear shimmer when you're Asian. Don't worry about it. Go for what suits you. Go for what you're comfortable with. But what I always say is keep it kind of subtle. If you want a more fuller coverage, just build it in finer layers and use like your concealers to get the areas where you need to. And just don't heavily powder for me. I feel like heavily powdering on aging skin, it just sits and it's just...
So how about then someone who was worried about like an uneven complexion or acne, that sort of thing?
Okay, so I'll probably say for acne, it's once again building with fine layers is the best thing to do for any makeup. Don't try and just go in straight with a massive heavy full coverage makeup because you're just going to instantly look like you've got something to hide. You need to be really, really discreet with it. Use your coverage where you need the coverage, so you don't have to have a full mask of makeup on your whole of your face. So you want to just kind of use concealers to try and cover the areas which are problem areas. Use like colour correctors to, if you've got like redness, so use greens or yellows to help counteract your redness where the acne is as well. That will really help. Obviously, when there's texture, it's difficult to get rid of texture. But if you cover it right and you don't use anything to make it stand out, it can work. If you have got texture and it's higher up on your skin, avoid highlighters. Don't use a highlighter because it will just literally shine on where the area is. So stay away from highlighters. it's sometimes probably better to go slightly more matte natural when you've got a little bit more of a breakout. But yeah, probably that's my best tip for it.
Cool. All good tips. I particularly think the one about using the green tones on the redness, that's a really good one. Lancome used to do some good stuff with that. Who would you say is that kind of your number one product for that sort of thing?
Smashbox do a green redness correcting primer, so it's a green colour. Best thing ever. I always have that in my kit for ladies that suffer with rosacea, for brides that get the redness on the chest in the morning, because then it doesn't actually onto their dress like foundation and concealer can do. So you can just kind of massage that in and help neutralise any redness. But that is probably my hero product. I would never not have it in my kit.
Right, so I'm going to go immediately online and order that. I don't have that in my kit. Yeah. Okay, so what about like a bride who was worried, who doesn't normally wear makeup and was worried about like not, or is very kind of like possessive of doing it themselves and is worried about kind of like handing it over to someone else? Like, what about those brides?
I think the way that I probably make them feel at ease is to just be even more tentative. So I think to let them have the most control over the makeup that I can, so without them physically doing it themselves, so them literally having every bit of control in terms of just constantly checking in the mirror, and I can keep asking them like, should I put a little bit more on, and they can say no, or they can say yes, and they can just literally have the direction, so that I am pretty much just applying it with my professional skills and tools and products, but they are actually telling me pretty much step by step the colours, the intensity. I think it's just about working really close with them and just keeping them really calm, and just making sure they feel comfortable with what I am doing the whole time throughout.
Yeah, and then you've had the trial also, haven't you? So hopefully that's kind of come during the trial.
Yeah, definitely. Good. I think we probably do that through the trial, and then usually if obviously they've loved it at the trial, on the wedding day they're chilled because they know that I've done it and they know exactly what they're wanting. We usually have a quick recap before on the day, everything to do exactly the same as before. They say yes, go ahead, I can just do it on the wedding day, and it's just that, but the trial will fix that in place, sort of thing.
So why would you say that a bride should go for a professional rather than trying to do it herself?
I think the difference with doing your makeup on an average day is you haven't got a high, what's the word for that? Not the word. You haven't got a professional camera basically in front of your face, so like showing high definition images for the rest of your life that you're going to see. It makes such a difference for someone that's professional to apply it in the way which a camera can view it. I think a lot of us, not everyone, there is some people that are amazing at doing their own makeup, even though they're not qualified in it, and every day look absolutely incredible. But it is different behind a camera. It'll show up every single flaw, even flaws you don't even know you have, because cameras are just like that. So, and a professional applying it will know how to create them layers so that the pixels in the camera pick up just flawlessness rather than it picking up any imperfections. So it just adds an edge, and then images are going to be with you then for the rest of your life, aren't they? They're your wedding images.
One thing we always do as well on a shoot is we always do the makeup and then we always camera test it, and that's always very useful. And you can do that on your wedding day, can't you, if you're worried about it?
Yeah, I always say to photographers on the wedding morning, oh, can I just have a little look? Because I like to see. And that's one of the reasons as well. People think that you just take pictures for your social media. I don't. I take pictures because I see everything behind, even my phone camera. I can be looking at a bride straight on and be thinking, yeah, stunning, fine, can go. But as soon as I lift that camera up, I'll go, oh no, that little bit on the lip there, or there's that little bit on the eye. So for me, as soon as you put a camera in front of someone's face, it shows up any little tweak that you need to do. And if you've done your makeup yourself and maybe you're good, but you actually didn't realise that there was parts you could have got a little bit better with, and then you look on the camera and you've got a bit too strong of a contour that you've not caught because it's yourself looking in a mirror with not proper lights. It just adds that bit of comfort to you to know that behind the camera, your skin's just going to look flawless.
And so how can brides then, we're in lockdown at the moment, we're filming it, but you know, this applies anyway, to a normal situation. How can brides and grooms, I guess, be like prepping for their close-ups? So how can they be getting their skin ready? What are the things they should be doing in terms of kind of like nutrition, water, I guess, drinking a lot of water? Tell me and I'll do it. So I look lovely when I come out of lockdown. This is a bit for me.
So my best tips are, if for brides leading up to their wedding day, if you are someone who's got really, really good skin, in general, and it's pretty glowing, you look after it pretty well and it's fine, do not change a thing. Stick through, but carry on drinking lots of water and try to stay calm and not stress yourself out too much, because I think that is one of the worst things for people's skin. Make sure you are double cleansing every evening. So don't just do one cleanse, do two. So you want to do your first initial cleanse will just get rid of all the dirt, and the second one will really, really get deep. Obviously at the minute, I don't know about everyone else, but I've not been wearing makeup on like an average day in lockdown. But I'm still double cleansing every night, because you still get so much dirt and oil and everything throughout the day. So double cleanse. I always use a toner. Use whatever serums are suitable for your skin. At the minute, I'm in love with retinol and hydrochloric acid, and I just use them too, and a moisturiser. But keep it simple, I think. I think people go too far. Exfoliate once a week for definite. Use a peel, use a deep exfoliator. I usually do Sunday as my skincare day, and I'll just do a peel, and then I will do like my full cleansing routine. I've got one of them derma rollers, tend to just give my face a nice little roller with that and then give it a disinfect. But yeah, you just want to keep everything really simple. As long as you're exfoliating, you're cleansing and you're moisturising, your skin will sort itself out. But if you have got problems, see a skin specialist, because it will just save you time.
So in terms of, I think quite a lot of people, myself included, get confused about the layering of the skincare with, say, like your hyaluronic acids, your retinols and things. So when should you be using the specific products, like your vitamin A's, your vitamin C's, and in what order?
So I've been putting my hydrochloric acid on first and then the retinol on second, and then I've got a vitamin C moisturiser, which I tend to use after the retinol. Vitamin C and the retinol work really, really well together, so they're a good one to layer. Retinol, if it's a high percentage, you should actually only use it for a month. It's kind of a treatment rather than an ongoing product. It is also something that you need to be careful with when you first start using it, because if you've got quite sensitive skin, you're better off mixing it with a moisturiser and easing yourself in, because it is quite harsh. It is designed to kind of take off the layers of the skin. But retinol is very good for helping to clean out your pores, so it'll stop you from kind of getting your spots. My skin's definitely cleared up a lot since I've used it, but it's also there for anti-aging benefits, which if anyone's low on the bones, you can't get to our clinics, then you know. It's helpful.
And do you use the retinol just in the evenings and then a sunscreen during the day, or?
I actually use it morning and evening at the moment, but I put a sunscreen over the top. So do make sure, like you said, you've reminded me that do wear an SPF in the day, because retinol is peeling back your skin, so you shouldn't really be in the sun without an SPF on, because it can be quite dangerous for your skin. And as we know, sun damage is the worst. So always put an SPF on in the morning. Some people do tend to use it a little bit more just on an evening, because your skin's repairing overnight. It will work a little bit better on an evening. So sometimes it's nice to just put your serums on an evening, so you've got that. But I like to use it both. Just I feel like I'm getting a bit more benefits from using it on both. But as long as you're protecting your skin, you are fine.
Okay, fantastic. And what about, we touched there on Botox, so things like your Botox and also the semi-permanent makeup that you do, although they're not in the same category, but we're going to sort of lump it all in together. How can a bride incorporate things like Botox and semi-permanent makeup into her wedding prep? And would you recommend it?
If you have got, if there is something that you want to change slightly about yourself before your wedding day, then yeah, go for it. Like, why not? A lot of brides get Botox because they're just wanting to be that best version, but I would probably say try it a good time before your wedding day. Don't get it the month before for the first time ever and hate it because it's your wedding day. You don't want to look back at your wedding day and think, oh God, what have I done? So I would probably say maybe get it done like the year before, see if you kind of like it. It's like Botox, lip fillers, if that's your sort of thing. I know my sister-in-law, I think she'll mind me saying this, but she got her lips done for a wedding that's now cancelled. But she got hers done with me, and then she's like, oh, that's great, now I'll get them topped up right before the wedding. And we went like a year ago, and then her wedding was meant to be in May, so she would have gone right before just to get that little bit. But she did it so that she could see, and that she was like, oh, I love it actually. Yeah, I probably would get a little bit more just before. But it's just easing yourself in and getting used to yourself if you're going to like it. Because not everyone does. Some people get Botox and they absolutely hate the way that they look with it. So don't do it the month before and regret it. Eyebrows, I'd probably say the same. It is a big procedure. It's on your face. So the procedure itself, you have like your initial procedure, and then you have your 4 to 8 week top up. So you've got that few months where you need to make sure you've got that time before your wedding to get them done. And then you kind of want your healing time after that second treatment. So that's around 2 to 3 weeks I'd give yourself. So I tend to say to brides, make sure you've got at least a month before your wedding to make sure that they're on and they're fine. And you might want to come back and do a little tweak to any little bit of it. You don't know, because everyone's skin heals slightly different. So give that time before your wedding to get them done. But they are amazing, because when you go on your honeymoon, if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of brow, and you're around the pool and you're really paranoid about it and you're drawing them on because you haven't got this brow that you want in, you want to get them good honeymoon snaps and you can't get them, they're perfect because they don't go anywhere. They're not going to rub off when you go in the pool. You can do whatever you want and you're still going to have a perfect brow. So they're ideal for honeymoons. But they're also great for your wedding day, because you've just got this really nice natural looking eyebrow that doesn't look too makeup-y in a way. It's another way to get a natural look, because your brows are just going to look dead nice and natural. So yeah.
I think we've got to say at this point, like, you need to be going to a really good professional to get this done, because otherwise it could go horribly wrong. And obviously really research, like check out the work of the people involved.
Definitely.
What would you advise on that front? How can people be researching?
I think for definite, one of the things I would always say is, if you can get a recommended artist, get a recommended one. Someone that you have seen their work, you have got that person's face in front of you that's had their eyebrows done. You're like, yeah, they look really good. And also kind of look for someone that's doing stuff that's your style. Don't go for someone that's doing big block powdering and eyebrows if you're actually wanting a really nice natural hair stroke brow, because they're not going to do that. They're going to do what they do. So you've got to really go deep into someone's Instagram or the website or whatever you're looking on to make sure that what they're doing is what you like. And funnily enough, one of my brides actually that got her eyebrows done with me, she recommended me to her sister-in-law, and her sister-in-law had sent lived over in Birmingham, so was looking for someone in Birmingham for her eyebrows. And when she was looking, she started sending the things to Holly. To Holly for like to ask her what she thinks. And Holly was like, yeah, but her eyebrows look really good, but her eyelashes she does are horrible, and I just don't know if I trust someone to do my eyebrows that does eyelashes like that. And I thought, do you know what? It's so true, because you probably should look at what else to do. Because if their style in lashes and makeup is really heavy and really dramatic, but you're thinking their eyebrows look quite good, do you trust them? Like, I'd maybe just look across all boards. If they do other stuff, check their other work and see what that's like as well. Then you'll get a really good grasp on what they're about and who they are as a person. But have a consultation. That is one of the other things I would say. Have a consultation. Discuss it with them. See what they come out with. See what they're like as a person. See what they look like. Just take everything in. And just make sure they're right for you. Just make sure that technician is right for you. And even if on the day you sat there and they draw your eyebrows on, you're thinking, oh my God, no, I hate this. Just say, I'm really, really sorry. I really don't want them doing.
Yeah, it's all about just keeping that flow of chat, isn't it? It's the same as when you're booking your bridal makeup artist, although it's a little bit more permanent actually. But you need to be looking at their Instagram, at their website, talking to them, like almost having the trial, but the trial is the consultation in this sense. So just keep chatting.
It is, keep chatting.
So let's talk through this best bit, a few of your favourite bridal looks, and kind of the techniques and the products you would recommend for each. So let's three of your favourite bridal looks.
Great, okay. So my top one is the golden glowy bronzy. I do this all the time. So it's kind of like a really goldeny, smoky eye. Not smoky where it's black smoky, like a smoky brown, like quite soft, but it's got a nice golden twinge to it. Nice bronzy skin, peach blusher, and a nice peachy, really nice, like fresh nude lip. I like a gloss on the lip. I try and do matte lips and it just doesn't do well for me. On myself this is, but on brides I do like a gloss on a bride as well. I just think it looks nice. So that's probably my favourite. My hero products for it is that Tom Ford palette, which I showed you all, with that kind of like goldeny tone. I love that. That's for the eyes. Face, Becca Cosmetics, the Shimmering Skin Perfector liquid that I use as a highlighter and as a base to really get the skin glowing. I absolutely love that because it looks like skin. It's not like a glittery shimmery highlighter where you can tell it's a highlighter. It just looks like a glow to the skin. Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter as well is really good. The Hollywood Flawless Filter, use that as a base, and that's once again gives you this dewy fresh look, anything to get the skin looking really glowy. I would say my favourite bridal lipstick of all time, I'm really, really sad because I discontinued it, so this isn't helpful for anyone, but it was Shy Girl by MAC. So MAC, if you're listening, bring it back.
So what's an alternative to that one then?
So I would probably say Peach Stock by MAC. It's actually more of a matte version, but I tend to put on the Charlotte Tilbury plumping lip gloss, which is a peachy one over the top, and it's got like little peach like glitters through it, and that's beautiful on top of that. And just use a little bit of a darker lip liner just to get a little bit more of depth to it as well. But yeah, that's probably what I'll use over the top instead. But I do miss Shy Girl. That was a good lipstick.
Okay, so look number 2.
Yeah. Look number 2, I get this quite a lot actually, this look number 2, and it is a favourite one, is pinky tones. So really soft pinky toned eyes. This has been in because, as we know, the pink bridesmaid dresses have been in. So it's really nice because it really flows with it. It tends to still have a little bit of a shimmer on there, so a nice glittery pinky colour on the lid. It smokes out with like really neutral pinks that almost look brown from afar, so it's not as if a really pinky colour. The soft, they kind of look a little bit browny, but just it kind of complement the dresses really, really well. So we tend to do that with a nice shimmer on the lid. I actually have the Pillow Talk. There we go. So the Pillow Talk range is amazing for this sort of look. The lipstick, amazing. The lip gloss is amazing. Everything from the Pillow Talk range could be a bridal look because it is just really nice. This sometimes really goes nice with a little bit more of a nice pinky blush. I like to use the Bobbi Brown cream blusher in Powder Pink, it's called, and that adds a really nice flush to the cheeks, and it's like a nice natural flush that's beautiful. So yeah, I tend to go for that when it's more the pinky road.
And how about a third look for us? We're being spoiled.
Look, I know, another one. I actually really like the classic winged liner look as well. Beautiful. I don't actually get a lot of red-lipped brides anymore. I did used to get a few, but I do quite like the really classic sharp red lip, really nice black winged liner, some nice lashes on there, nothing too over the top, just nice natural ones, and skin that looks like glass. So this really suits your English rose type of brides, your really nice kind of paler brides that just nice glazed skin, a pinky flush to the cheeks, and a really sharp red lip. Just looks beautiful.
So for a really good red lipstick that suits most people, what would you suggest?
I would either go for the Russian Red by MAC Cosmetics, or I would go for the Smashbox do a range of Smashbox lipsticks are amazing anyway, but Smashbox do loads of reds that are absolutely stunning. I'm trying to think the one. I think it's called Legendary. I think that's the actual name of the red lipstick. I could be completely wrong with that. I worked for them for years, I should know. But their lipsticks in general are beautiful, but they do, I'm sure it's called Legendary, this red one, and it's absolutely stunning. So I would go for something like that. It's a very classic red. It's your typical red that you'd see on anyone, really.
I think that's a lovely look. And what about your winged eyeliner? What's your go-to eyeliner?
It's actually just Maybelline one. It's a Maybelline gel in a pot, and I use a little, I switch through brushes, which I go through stages with. I either use a really fine point one, a bit like an artist brush, or I use an angled brush. Does depend on the flick that someone's wanting as well. If they're wanting quite a sharp, crisp one, I go angled. If they're wanting more of like a soft curve of a flick, I'll go with the artist brush, because you can get that fluid in there.
Lovely. Okay, so once we're out of lockdown, you've got a new venture starting, or you've got something new going on. Do you want to tell everyone about that?
Yeah, so once we're out of lockdown, I'm actually moving into a brand new salon in Bawtry. It is called the Creative Quarter. Now, the Creative Quarter is going to be run by two of my closest friends. They are incredible. One's a makeup artist too, Billy, I absolutely love her, and the other one's Jess. She's a hairdresser. They're actually opening it and making it into a training academy as well, which is so exciting. I am actually certified in training, so I recently got my teaching qualification, and I actually teach 2 nights a week as well. So we'll be offering training courses eventually along in time, and hopefully I should be teaching brows in time, which I'm very excited for. So we'll just be offering training on makeup, hair, beauty. We've got the works there, literally everything you can get, from intense facials, massages, spray tans. We've got pedicures, manicures, obviously your acrylics, everything like that in your manicures. We've got brows, we've got Botox, we've got fillers, and we've got hair and makeup. But we're just an amazing group of girls. We're all actually really close. I don't think any of us don't know each other. And we're just going to be an all-round salon, but it's absolutely stunning. Everyone needs to see it. It is beautiful, and it's really big. It's a really big salon. But it
needs to be, by the sound of what you're offering.
There's so many of us. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. We're doing lots of different things to make it different to your normal salons. I think the experience when you're in there will be completely different. We're all really bubbly. We're all really excitable people. We're all quite like, we love what we do, and we love to make people feel like welcome as well. So I think as a team, we're all going to be just on it and passionate and just driven and creating just beautiful work. There's a bunch of us makeup artists there, so we're going to have a field day doing all our brides and everything else. And just offering different things to other places, like iced coffee. You don't get that everywhere.
Sounds good. I'm going to be driving down for sure.
Yes, you definitely need to visit.
Ready for my post-lockdown makeover. So, Natasha, you've been amazing today. How can brides, whether it's the brides, bridesmaids, anyone who wants to see you for a procedure or to talk about makeup, how can they find you and get in touch with you?
So there's many different ways. You can go through my Instagram, which is Natasha Jane Makeup. I also have a separate one for my eyebrows, which is Natasha Jane Brows. I have Facebook for both, exactly the same, Natasha Jane Makeup, Natasha Jane Brows. You can contact me by email, which is, might be typed, but it's natashajanemakeup@outlook.com. Or you can just give me a call and have a little chat, which is 07908 181 308. And basically just have a little chat, a little talk about whatever you kind of got any questions. And then once this is all over, we can definitely meet up. I'll either be at the salon, I can come to you, whatever works best.
Well, thank you so much, Natasha. That was awesome.
Okay. It's nice to
say goodbye.